space for us is a certain physical entity that seems to fill everything. Perhaps there is a great temptation to imagine space as an empty room where there is nothing, but there are walls, and within these walls we can place three familiar dimensions, and also attach time. The temptation is great, but it is wrong. It is important to understand that the space of physics is not exactly a physical entity. Strangely enough, once again, an analogy from the world of 3D modeling, from the world of computer games, fits very well. And in a strange twist of fate, humanity is slowly but surely replicating the very process that nature once carried out. Visualize a workspace in a 3D editor, for instance, in 3D Max, or in a three-dimensional AutoCAD software application. Or that very Muravinovsky engine, which we have mentioned several times before because it has, so to speak, settled in my mind. And envision yourself in a situation where you are trying to retrieve a particular object from a list of objects and bring it into the workspace. What is this zone from a physical standpoint? Do you have an analogy with that precise image we witness when studying distortions of space under the influence, well, in the case of gravitational mass and its effects on space-time? I dare to suggest that space could potentially represent something similar to the object we observe in the software called 3D Max as an illustration. In the case of 3D Max, and generally in any 3D work, it is an auxiliary entity that allows, for example, to determine coordinates, arrange objects, endow objects with properties, enable the use of properties, and modify them in practice. And, in general, if we establish an analogy between this virtual workspace and the space that exists in the physical world, we will be able to identify multiple intersections and similarities. As an illustration, space that exists in the tangible world can indeed have a multitude of functions and serve diverse purposes. The functions of space in our lives are the physical laws. For example, if we drop, roughly speaking, stone C from a height, the stone falls. This implies that there exists a specific function incorporated in the space engine, let us refer to it as such, that characterizes the behavior of the stone. This is beautifully illustrated in both a mathematical and physical manner, and, most importantly, in a practical way. Every object in physical space possesses a collection of attributes. These include structure, color resulting from the reflection of light, the capability to move in a certain manner, and numerous other qualities. Upon analyzing the field of work of a three-dimensional editor, you will observe that the same thing applies. In the same 3ds Max, there are also numerous functions that can be applied to an object. Real life does the same, endowing objects with various properties. Furthermore, if space is perceived as such, Einstein's logic is flawless, as he stated that matter is inseparably connected to space, and space is inseparably connected to matter, implying that these entities are not separate from each other. If there is space, there is also matter, and vice versa.